Okay, now we're going to do a contour line drawing. Okay, so all of this work has been prepping us to actually get a more finished looking result. Okay, so we've learned gesture, we've learned construction, continuous contour, blind contour, something else, but, and we've learned geometric and organic lines. All right, so let's bring it all together. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to basically, I'm gonna draw it looking like that. I'm actually gonna draw this bottle, okay, so you can just see how I'm doing it. Okay, so I'm gonna be looking, I'm gonna be looking down at it, it's fine. Okay, so at this point, I'm looking at it kind of like this. I don't recommend that you hold your object when you draw it, but what I do recommend you do is to start to think about comparing width to height, okay? So parts that you can compare to other parts. So for example, the width here is the same as the width to the bottom of the lid when it's closed. Let me try this one. Okay, yeah, so the height here is equal to the width, okay? So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start with a construction line drawing when I do this contour line drawing, all right? So that I'm gonna have measured things. Doing this in pencil, nice and light. I do the spine first. I'm gonna figure out that major axis on the bottom, and I'm going to make sure that that is consistent on both sides. That does not look consistent. Let me take a moment and check that again. Yeah, it is. Might help if I actually drew a better line. Okay, straight lines are not my specialty. Okay, so from here, I'm gonna draw this nice and big for you guys. So the width here should be the same as the actual height, which is pretty darn close. So I take this and it's actually right around there. Okay, so that's gonna be from here to here, which means that I also have another axis that is right around here. Now, if you look very carefully here, you're gonna see that the distance here is actually equal to the distance of that lid height. Okay, I'm gonna give it a slight twist just so I can see the top. Okay, so that means that this space is duplicated again here. So that's what I mean by comparative looking, okay? The width here is not so if I were to bring this up here and this up here, then I can kind of curve this in for the little shoulder, and then it kind of pops up and does that kind of thing. Make sure that you're matching what you see on both sides if you're doing a symmetrical object, all right? And then I can draw in a little bit of this threading kind of coming in. It kind of pops up and over, and then I can draw this lid that has like a little rim that does this kind of thing, and it's an ellipse, so it's going to have a bit of a curve to it. So I'm going to give this a little bit more of like a happy face ellipse. Okay, I'm also going to do the same thing down here, because if you look here, you're going to see there is an actual lift that's taking place. So it shouldn't be totally flat. It should actually kind of smile, right? And if I continue that ellipse going around, that's going to help me draw in other things as well. Okay, then this is going to sort of pop up here. Yeah, that's about right. Pop up here. Okay, and then I can get that sort of lid ellipse shape going. Okay, so this is a contour line drawing, not a construction line drawing, so I'm going to erase away construction lines that I don't need now. But what that construction line approach helped me do is to just basically get that object measured and drawn correctly. Okay, so next on the agenda, I'm going to go ahead and put in missing information. Since this is at a slight angle, I'm going to kind of see something like this. Don't worry about text that you see on anything. Do worry about reflections, because a contour line drawing is not just the exterior shape of the object, but it's also all of these really cool sort of reflections and stuff. I do see marbles in there. I'm going to go ahead and put those in. I'm going to draw in little reflections where I see them. I do see a line coming in here that's indicating the bottom, which is also it's also an ellipse kind of shape. I do see reflection of glass reflection coming up. So I'm going to put that in as well. Anywhere that I see any line on the object, I'm going to draw it in. I see a little bit of stamping here, which kind of creates a texture. This is kind of like a big shape that I can kind of color in. I'm just doing that to help me understand that that's really dark right there. And then I have a couple of things happening right here. I have this getting darker. I got some reflection kind of stuff happening right here. Lots of little details. Drawing in the marble. Make sure, like, I can't draw circles perfectly, that's why I do superimposed lines. This one has a cool, it's like a lion, like a cat eye kind of effect. Okay, back here I can see a marble, back here I can see, but then it kind of like gets fuzzy right there, so I'm not going to draw that marble perfectly because it's not really perfect, kind of gets distorted with the glass reflection. This has reflection kind of coming over top. All those beautiful reflected lights and shadows are going to really create the illusion of a reflection of glass. So this is actually, this whole shape right here is going to, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of, I'm going to color that in, even though it's not a tonal drawing, and I'm going to erase away that because I just wanted to kind of get that shape down. Right, and all I'm doing here, I'm doing all these, I'm doing little lines kind of coming in, but I'm also doing reflection lines, little shapes. The more you can do little shapes, the nicer it's going to look. Also, the more you can now create thicker line weight where it goes thicker, that's also going to help. All right, so this kind of curls around more like that. Okay, there's more reflection in there, so don't be afraid. Especially if you have glass, you definitely want to draw in shapes where there are reflections. But the idea here, you want to definitely draw all the hard lines that you see, but also the soft lines that you see. That's pretty good. I would probably curve this just a little bit more, make that a little bit more believable. And now I will, and so that is my contour line drawing. And what I will do next is go ahead and ink it. So I will do the inking separately.